Recording Satsang session on 27th November 1980. Mother's teaching, talk number 68. Continuing questions and answers 1951 of the Mother.
We have been studying till now Mother's questions and answers 1951. That book volume ends today, and it ends conveniently because I am due to go within 2 or 3 days on a tour that first takes me to Voltaire, where they have arranged programs for a week, morning and evening. And then I go to Bombay on the 10th of December from Voltaire. There are programs for 3 weeks. Classes or studies in human unity and human cycle and other programs, Bombay. Then there is a seminar in Pune, most likely in Wadia College, in the first week of January. Then there are window memorial lectures in Calcutta, and a visit to Shantiniketan. By the time I return to Bombay, it will be about the 20th of January. And within a few days, I am to go to Holland. Holland, the School for Oriental Studies of Switzerland, has asked me to conduct 2 seminars, weekend seminars. One on Veda, Upanishad, Tantra, and the other on yoga, classical and modern. So that will keep us in Holland till the middle of February, after which we proceed to England. And there, among number of engagements, there is a public meeting on Mother's birthday in London, February 21st. So after completing all those, we should be back, I think, by the end of February. It is a long program, 3 months it will take. And we are completing this talk today, so I propose that we suspend the satsangs from tomorrow till I come back. I will need the few days for packing, collecting things, otherwise I forget, and from there I write here, send me that, send me this. This time I have to do more methodically. And we shall resume in an appropriate way after we are back. Now, there are some interesting topics. Any questions, by the way? Peter? No. There are a few observations of Mother which are not generally known, and that is, Mahasaraswati, one of the 4 principal divine powers of the Mother, she likes the young. Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati. Mahasaraswati is the power for perfection and power of work, service, planning. And Mother says that she likes the young because I suppose they are less rigid and they cooperate and they have the verve and the vitality to work for perfection. And second observation is that the generous is never unhappy. A person who is generous in giving, obviously, she says he is never unhappy. He always likes to give, and in giving he has intense happiness. Now this giving need not be only physical things. It can be in energy, it can be in thoughts, ideas, though at times they bore, people who think they have something to give, and physical things. Anyway, generosity means a readiness and a spontaneous movement to part with things, give it to others. Now, in that very act, there is a happiness. So, if one wants to be really happy, one must cultivate this quality of generosity. Smallness, meanness always makes us unhappy, and even when we don't give, we are always have a background fear that somebody may take it away. The misery of a miser is fear of losing the money. He won't give, but he is afraid. Somebody may take it. He will suspect his own children, his own family people. Every visitor who calls on him, he suspects this fellow has come for money. So a very suspicious and an oppressive atmosphere is built up. In the Upanishads also, there is an important observation, that is, largeness, vastness is happiness. The small is miserable. Alpam asukham, bhumaiva sukham. Bhuma is greatness, vastness. So we have to cultivate broadness and give oneself. These are both psychic qualities. And for those who complain that they cannot get to the psychic, their psychic is not awake, these are the main disciplines of cultivating. We cultivate so many things. We don't say this is not natural to me, and we don't, but in society we cultivate manners, what are called manners, etiquette, and however much angry we are with our bosses, we suppress, show them only before subordinates, isn't it? So these qualities, they must be sedulously cultivated till they become second nature. Once you start developing generosity, all the meannesses drop out. You don't have to make a special effort to reduce meanness. It is automatically displaced by the positive opposites. Second nature is you are not really born with that way of doing things or responding quality. You are not born with it. But by habit, by living with people who do things in a particular way, you imbibe certain ways of doing and thinking qualities. And that becomes it is not your original nature. It becomes an imbibed nature, a nature to which you have got accustomed. So the second nature is easier to get rid of than the original nature. Original nature you inherit from the past and heredity. But second nature is a confirmed habit, a habitual way, that is called second nature. Original nature, second nature. These are the two types of nature. Then, in the same topic, mother speaks of changing habits. Now, this has not struck us. At any rate, it has not struck me till I read this. That is, she says, it is not the outer habits you have to change. It is the inner habits. Outer habit, there are certain things we give to people who take roughly, or we abuse, we get angry. Now all this, you can certainly suppress them. You can certainly change, you can certainly smile even when you are angry. Isn't it? You can certainly shake hands when you really want to squeeze that fellow. All these things can be done. And you can speak hypocritically when all the time you are feeling differently. And Sri Aurobindo once observes in a letter how the Japanese, you suddenly meet him and he may be giving you a very toothy smile, and the next moment a dagger may be in your stomach. Sri Aurobindo notes it. So these are outer habits. So the outer habits are results of some inner movements. Anger is an inner movement. So instead of trying to cover it up by a forced smile, by a false movement, if anger itself you control from inside, the manifestation of anger does not come. So for every habit that we have, there is an inner cause, an inner origin. Laziness. Once there is laziness inside, there are so many outer habits. You are slow to move. You ask other people to get that thing from here. Procrastination, inertia, all these are due to a certain inner proneness to laziness. So cultivate, she says change the inner habit. Automatically the outer habits change. But if you go on changing the outer habits without touching the inner habits, you become a double man, a double person. That is, outside you are one, inside you are another, and that leads ultimately to what is called schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is two persons in one. You will find in certain moods and certain moments a very reasonable person, very sweet. Another mood, very cruel, very undesirable. And some people have been mistaken to be lunatics because they have been seen in those bad moods. Other times they are normal. So schizophrenia is what is called split personality. That is, you have two sides. And these two sides are a result of severe suppression of intense feeling and movements, suppression of expression. You are not really trying to remove those feelings and those tensions from you. You keep them bottled up. Outwardly, you show as if they are not there. This leads to double tension, imbalance, resulting in schizophrenia. So, inner habits and outer habits. This is a thing for psychologists to know. They always say, don't express this, don't do that. But very rarely do they say, change the feeling. If the feeling is changed, that movement won't be there. We are used to receive things, react to things in a particular way. That is, our psychological being has got to be tackled and changed before the physical being can really improve. Then, question of chance. Chance she says, is there are a number of conflicting wills. Each tries to prevail. Number of possibilities, number of wills, this must happen, that must happen. And at that moment, something gets the ascendancy and it succeeds. So that is what is called chance. Chance is not an expected result of a calculated working of forces. We know how many forces are there and this is going to happen. There is a law, there is an order. But suddenly, in the situation, number of new factors come up. Other will start operating at that moment. And all the order goes awry and something new, something unexpected comes. This is chance. Chance is not really a part of manifestation. When something new erupts, that is chance. Our lives are to be shaped according to some order, some rhythm. Chance is an unexpected thing, and one can never bank upon chance. One can never plan the future expecting chance to come in one's favor. Chance may go anywhere. At times it works to our advantage, at times it does not. But what appears to be a chance on the surface may not be a chance also. We may not analyze enough, we may not perceive enough and think it is chance. So chance is a very slippery ground to build upon, but it is a fact. Now and then, when new constituents of a situation spring up and an unexpected will prevails, there is chance. Yes, this is important, which most of us miss. That is, you remember when Anandamayi's photograph was shown to Sri Aurobindo, I think by Dilip, Sri Aurobindo said, she is in Satchidananda consciousness, Anandamayi. So the question came up, how can you have Satchidananda consciousness unless you have supramental consciousness? Mind, overmind, illumined mind, intuitive mind, and then super mind, and then only Satchidananda. How she has, do you mean to say that she has realized the super mind? That was the question. Sri Aurobindo says no. And the fact is, one does not have to pass through all these graded levels of consciousness to experience the Satchidananda, for the simple reason that the Satchidananda is not only there but here throughout. It is behind all, it's supporting all. In the Upanishads they say Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. Brahman is all this. Now Satchidananda, which is part of Brahman, is also behind everything. At every level there is Satchidananda. So even at the physical level, without being highly mentally developed, without knowing the Shastras, without having to pass through all these, one can just deepen and realize this Satchidananda. So there is a realization of Satchidananda at the physical level, at the vital level, every level behind you realize it. But if you want to realize it evolutionarily, confirming it in every part of your being, you have to go like that. Now, a person who has realized the Satchidananda at the physical or the emotional level, it will be only there. The mind will not be illumined by Satchidananda. So the person may be very crude, the person may give wrong answers, the person may not understand what you ask. Mentally, the person may be very undeveloped. But at that level, there is Satchidananda consciousness. Now, Sri Aurobindo and Mothers emphasize on the necessity of evolving spiritually, because the whole of the person, right from the body upwards, everything is informed, enlightened, illumined and possessed by the highest consciousness. So this, only if you want to go through the evolutionary ladder, you have to go through the supermind. But if you just want that, you can withdraw from this active life and realize it here. This is what we have seen in India. There are many yogis who have that constant Ananda consciousness, Ananda experience. But they are very crude. They lie on ant hills, they smoke, they eat anything they get, they throw stones at you. And there was one here to whom our Diana used to go with he used to like gold flake, very expensive cigarettes. And she would get from somewhere and she would go and give it to him. And everybody said he was a realized yogi. He was just sitting on these, these heaps where they throw all the refuse. Here you have those cement round rings. Formerly we never had. They were only thrown and he would sit there smoking. But everybody who went near him, he got some peace, he got some happiness, and he felt elevated. That is what Sri Aurobindo points out in one of his chapters in the Life Divine. Only a part is liberated. Only a part has realized the divine consciousness in that aspect. But the rest of it is crude and they don't care. Their aim in life is salvation, liberation, and not perfection. So why should they care?
Is the character the same of Satchidananda, or the person who realizes on the physical, on the life, or whatever?
On that level, at that time, yes, Satchidananda is Satchidananda. Yes. Satchidananda is Satchidananda. But the thing is, its expression, you see, will be colored by its medium. It is bound to be, isn't it? Certainly he won't be that harmonious, rhythmic expression. It will be chaotic. Now he will be fine, now he will be intoxicated. You see. And you have no idea how fearful they can be. There are people, they at times, if something wakes up there, in the midst of a crowd they will start howling like a tiger, roaring like a lion, and actually doing their crouching movements. And after 15 minutes they will forget that they have done it. When something is awakened inside, it is, and the Shastra explains them saying that they are purificatory movements. So when somebody asked me, I said, you are not conscious. He said, no. Then movements that are unconscious are to be discouraged. If you are consciously crawling like a tiger and shouting like a tiger, it's all right. But no, say, I am not aware. Then it is something to be discouraged. Because spiritual growth is increase of consciousness. Anything that decreases the consciousness should be discouraged. Then somebody said, but they are kriyas which do nadi shuddhi, which they purify the nerves. So I said, this is a horrendous process of purifying. I think we would rather do without. Now, in our Muktananda's ashram, these things are very common. They write about it in books. And they just shout. Grrr, grrr, they do. Like tigers, And like this. And everybody watches. Like birds croaking, some things. These are all, actually in my opinion, they would be certain chaotic expressions of a force which they can't contain. I fail to see how they can purify your being.
There's a recent development in Western psychology
Huh.
that also uses things like that people have to breathe and breathe more and more and more, and then they lose themselves, and then they start shouting and screaming and moving, and then afterwards they say they feel much relieved of former tension.
I see. This has gone to the Western psychologists. It is really, in Indonesia, they have a cult. And 12, 13 people, they will shut themselves in a room, hold their hands, and recklessly they will dance. So much so that there is tremendous upsurge of vitality, loss of physical balance, and they suddenly stop. Immediately they feel a kind of release, lightness. Now this, what is it called? Letihan. No? It is called Letihan. Who is that man? Papa Subud. Pak Subu. He introduced it in London. And this has something to do with what Gurdjieff was teaching to his people. That is to indulge in reckless movements, exhaust yourself completely, and then suddenly stop. Same thing Rajanishi is doing in Pune. There are 100 people. Like that. They jump. There is some music, rock, something like a heavy music going on. And all those holding things like that, they have to jump. And then round and round and round. They have to run. And suddenly they stop. Immediately those people, they lose their bearings. They fall upon each other, they fall, all kinds of things. And then 5 minutes silence. They say they come out very exhilarated, naturally, with this kind of, excitement. But does it contribute in the long run? It gives a temporary elation. But they say it leads us to divine consciousness. It leads to vital excitement. You feel nice, you feel broad, you feel powerful. They think it is divine.
And what about what the Sufis do?
Same, the principle is the same. Principle is the same. Exciting the vital parts, giving it full scope without any kind of inhibition, and jump into it. You realize real vital consciousness and not divine. Divine consciousness is full of peace, full of control, full of tenderness, and not this kind of violent. These things are going on. And all the Westerners who come to Rajanish, they do these things. And I think some of our disciples also have started lauding it now, isn't it, Peter?
Yes.
Not here.
No, there was a time, but it is stopped.
You're Closterman?
I don't know about that. No, the experience started, but more discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Never in the ashram?
Not in the ashram.
No, outside.
groups connected with the ashram. They will put that music, what is it called, jazz music or something.
Rock and roll.
And then they hold hands and they dance. I had once occasion to talk to mother that those dances and things were being done as process of transformation. So I asked mother, they are doing like this. She treated it as an experiment. But I don't think it works. Those people are anything but divine. Huh? Delight and bliss, same. Ananda is the word. There is no difference. Yes, same. Yes, we'll meet again after 3 months.
Here ends the satsang session of 27th November 1980. It's the conclusion of talk number 68 in the series Mother's Teaching. Today, Mother's Questions and Answers 1951 was concluded, and satsang has been suspended until Madhav's return from his 3-month tour in February 1981.